Yeah, there's now. I didn't get to.
What are we looking at now?
Okay, these are new ones. I only have from yesterday the list of 4 because I got bogged down with phones not working and the computer acting funny. I got treaty, peace, conceal, and breach from yesterday. Now there were more on the call that I didn't get back to do today, but Patrick mentioned some other ones to me: Article of Peace, Bill of Peace, Access, Action Against the State, Cloud of Title, Confusion of Rights and Obligations, a Presumed Grant, a Presumption, and Quiet Title. And right-of-way by necessity, and right-of-way by reservation.
Those all sound like private terms.
Pardon?
I said that they sound like, the private terms that we're supposed to be, using to become private, right?
Well, the confusion of rights and titles is what the corporate government is doing to us. In that, we're the grantor and they're the grantee, but they try to turn it the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
We're the bailor and they're the bailee, but they try to turn that around.
And like a landlord and tenant?
Yeah, you're right, landlord and tenant, or trustee and beneficiary. They keep trying to turn all of those things around.
Wow, yeah. And then we try to go to them to show them that, and they keep rejecting us.
Yeah, they won't. They believe they act like they don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, let me turn that. Yeah, that Q&A session stuff is that when I turn that on, you've got to do *6 to let me know that you want to ask a question, and then I pick the questions one at a time. But we don't have that problem with being overwhelmed with questions.
What is it? *6 to unmute?
No, that's when I turn on the Q&A thing.
Oh, okay.
And I've never really turned it on.
Yeah.
Even though it's a little button here, it seems like you get anywhere near a half mile to it, and it fires itself off.
Hey, Thomas, I'm on the Yahoo group. I didn't see anything new posted, so I just wondered if there's anything at eConcurrent or on a Skype.
No.
No,
it goes on Yahoo first.
Okay, that's cool.
I put it on Yahoo as the means of publishing it. I put it on the Skype group as a courtesy, but I don't see that as a medium of distribution because so many people aren't in contact with each other, and sometimes the thing fails, and just not going to keep republishing it once somebody has trouble. Get it either from Yahoo or eConcurrent.
Hey, if Kevin's on the call, he called me. I returned a call, and I couldn't get through. I just left a message, so I guess we'll just catch up with each other soon enough.
It's almost as if we might have to start dragging people into court, like when we go into Secretary of State and show them these documents and they reject them. The person who rejects them, the clerk or whatever, we may have to start taking these people into court. Our court, not, a judicial court, but our own personal court. What do you think? Didn't Pat mention something about having to go to court yesterday on the call? Maybe having to do that.
He did. And I agree. I think it needs some enforcement.
And I think who else is going to give the enforcement other than the king or queen?
Right.
Because obviously we're trying to be, rational with these people, but nobody seems to want to, lend a sharing, a helping hand.
I've heard that there's supposed to be a new court called American National People's Court up in Washington.
Have to look into that.
Yeah, I read a lot of stuff on their website. It's kind of scary, some of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a combination grand jury and a court, I think.
Because they want you to use ID to identify yourself.
Oh, man. Maybe our own ID?
Yeah, you're tying me in tighter to those documents.
Or unless we create our own ID, and claim it on the record or something, claim it on our own record, create our own record, claim our own name, create our own ID, become completely sovereign.
Mm-hmm. It was asking for driver's license and birth certificate specifically.
Maybe we can make our own birth certificate.
Right, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the United States of America 1781.com website.
United States of America 1871, or which one you talking about?
1781.com. Yeah, the United States of America 1781.com. That's where that stuff is, and it seems scary. I think Pat will probably curse us out for even mentioning it here on this call. Curse me out, I guess.
How did you come across that site?
That was what they were talking about in the club.
Being at the ANPC.US.
Claiming your nationality. It was.
This is Tom. I got cut off. My computer has been having heat problems today, and it freezes up for about 5 minutes every once in a while. So I'm back.
Okay.
Well, the court I was mentioning, I think it's ANPC.US.
Right. Well, this one is saying claim your nationality, and it's supposed to be in conjunction with that Cancelatora of Foreign Instruments Act of 2013 was signed by a couple of American nationals, and I guess it's supposed to be an act turned into law. And it was signed by a couple of delegates. I don't know. I didn't like the idea that it was talking about your driver's license and your birth certificate when the document itself says something about surrender and all that stuff. So maybe I just need some more research on it.
Well, some people are discussing other processes in the club, and that's why we set up the club for off-topic stuff. That's not what we're concerned about. And you saw John Worrell's.
He was talking about peace treaties and, stuff like that, entering into, a peace treaty. So some of that stuff is in conjunction. So Just
Okay.
researching the possibilities, from all avenues, I guess.
I'm just going to mention, I'm not doing it, and I don't want anybody to get mad about it, but one of the things other people are doing is that reservation of rights and the reservation and reservation, something like that. But excuse me, reversion, yeah.
Yeah, reversionary interest.
Reversion of rights and the usufruct, but you're allowing the foreign to occupy you. It's kind of weird.
Right.
Excuse
yeah,
me.
that sounds kind of scary too.
Well, why don't we get back on the subject of our process here? You saw John Worrell's reaction to all that. He knows the people who are doing that, and he is very suspicious of them because of their track record.
Right.
Okay, this is Pat. I'm on the line.
Hi, Patrick.
Okay.
Hi. And I heard everything you were talking about. Okay, what I told you last night was that basically it's about peace, okay? We don't have to do a peace treaty, okay? What do they do to us to get us in the court? They charge us. Well, what we need to do is we need to do the bill. They do the charging, we do the billing. So when you look up bill, okay, bill in equity, bill obligatory, bill in avocation, and bill of peace. Bill of peace, a bill filed to procure response from repeated litigation, repose from repeated litigation, and one of the earliest instances in which chancery courts entertain jurisdiction on the grounds of preventing a multiplicity of suits. Well, you continue on with that, and looking at this, we do a bill of peace. That's what it said in that under peace. And then we do our articles of peace within our bill. Okay? One of the articles basically in the bill is basically that they are to return. We're going to clear the title, the clouds of title over our property. We're going to remove the presumptions. So, words you need to look up. Access. Action against the state. See, action against the state, the states are immune from suit under the 11th Amendment. Now, the 11th Amendment was before they turned around and brought in the 14th Amendment. So these 14th Amendment states are not immune per the 11th Amendment. They were created afterwards. And they don't have a article like that for them. Article. Okay, articles of the peace. The complaint in a proceeding to compel a person to give bond to keep the peace. Right there. You compel them to give bond, give up what they're holding to keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
Louder title. And here we're going to go see Confucius. confusion of rights and obligations, a merger of the obligor and the obligee in one person. That's what they've done. They have confused the situation in who is the obligor and who is the obligee. It's not the same person. And that's where the confusion has come into play. So you can look that one up. Then, like I said, bill and equity, bill, and go through all the bills in Ballantyne's. You can then turn around and start going to some of the other dictionaries, like Anderson. Presumption. One of the big things out here is that we have been making all the wrong presumptions. They know what this shit they're doing. Mm-hmm. That it's us that are we're presuming that they know this and that they are doing all of this stuff. No, we're the ones that are presuming everything wrong. It's our dream, okay? We have to wake up and then start breaking the presumptions that they're trying to put upon us. Writing title, an action or suit in court designed to effect the removal of a cloud or clouds on title of real property. That's what we're doing, is we're quieting title. Right of approach, and you can look through all the rights. The right of approach gives us the right to come in and check out the cargo. Right of private property. Right of reentry. And I've gone over this before about the reentry for condition broken. Right of way by necessity. Then also right of way by reservation. A right of way created by a deed reserving in the premise conveyed an easement thereof. Right of necessity. A right of way founded upon an implied grant or implied reservation, the implication arising from the necessity of a way for use of premises granted and premises retained by the grantor. I've told you all along that basically, if you look in the dictionary, you'll find out more when you start understanding the words. Why do we need a Social Security number? There's only one reason that we need a Social Security number. It's not because we're a U.S. citizen. It's not because of the item there to it's not for legal alien allowed to work or legal alien not allowed to work. Okay? There's another block there about citizenship. You mark other. You're an American Indian and white or American Indian, black / African American, or American Indian, other Pacific Islander, or Alaskan Native American Indian, or Asian American Indian. The only reason you need that Social Security number is because it's a transmitting utility number. And when you get your receipts, and I've said this before, that those receipts are receipts in transit, and you have to turn around and get the unjust exchangement returned. That's the only reason you need that Social Security number, is so you can claim the payment that they have been using to make everything prepaid by their bonding system. That way you cancel the debt that's out here. And that's the only reason we need to have that Social Security number. But we do need to have it. We can't get rid of it. Because even when we're not doing anything else, we see, once you're an American Indian, you owe no taxes. You don't need a driver's license. Now, basically, they better provide a safe passage out here as a passport, a special passport, and that's all you need to have. And that would be other, that you would be getting a different passport. Like that one woman got when she did it as a legal alien allowed to work. We have the right to work. But being allowed to work using your Social Security number, you hand that over to somebody else, they're going to turn around and write bonds using that transmitting number. Against your assets. So we're going to pull our assets out away from them, and now we turn around and put our assets back into the Office of Special Trustee. They're not there yet. We have to take them and get them out of the commercial world and put them over into the reservation depository accounts. That's the same thing we have to do with our fathers or our dead relatives' accounts. That way, you give them peace. Right now, they're laying on the battlefield, and basically, the warring factions are using them as collateral. So they're not at peace. Even though they may be in the ground, they're not at peace. You take this document and basically you make up, and I had this up before, a treaty of peace. But we're going to make a bill of peace. It'll be something along the same lines. But see, we've already got the treaties out here that are in place. We just have to enforce those treaties. The treaty, the bill, or the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation. And then that basically was modified more in depth into the Constitution of the United States. And then also it was added to have bills placed upon it for our protections. See, we do bills. The Bill of Rights. Those are our bills. So we have to use them as bills or parts of our bill of peace. And in the bill of peace, this goes to the courts. The courts are responsible for ensuring the peace. They're the peacekeepers. I forget which one Clint Eastwood movie there that basically he was he got hang 'em high, I think it was, okay, to where he got hung, and then basically he became a marshal for this one judge in the Oklahoma territory. The judge was responsible for keeping the peace in the territory. And then he had the marshals underneath him to enforce the peace. But we have to come in and basically declare that our peace has been broken. See, that's what all these other people out here are totally missing in the process. They want to go out and establish something all brand new. They're fighting the system. They don't think the system's there. The system's there. We just haven't called on it in the right capacity. We haven't addressed ourselves as American Indians because they turned around and claimed the title of American or United States citizen in the corporate world, therefore causing the confusion, as Confucius would say. Yes, their whole object is to cause you a state of confusion. Are you in the living world or are you in the dead world? And most of these people never will figure out which one they're really in. And like you said, if that website is still wanting to have a driver's license, they don't know which world they're in. You get that SS5 card marked up. You start establishing yourself as you are an American Indian. American Indians don't owe any taxes. Why? Because we are the source. And basically all taxes have to go back to the source. So why would you owe taxes back to yourself? They're the owners, basically, of the fiction corporation that they're controlling. They're the ones that are obligated to make the payment. And see, that's where you have to come in and basically break the confusion. And then I would send this in, but you put down that you're making up a bill of peace, and state some of your items there at the very beginning of what's going on, and then come down and go into your articles of the peace. One of your articles of the peace would be that basically if these guys cause any harm, here is your fee schedule for detaining and breaching your peace. that you could go down through there, and you should have probably at least 3 to 7 articles put in there. Then you would sign this and seal it, and then you would send this to the chief judge for your federal district.
Chief judge.
That's who I would put down, the chief judge for the federal district. You wanted to, you could put one into the state, because, see, the state constitution is also a peace treaty with the people of the state. So I would also copy them. And then also I would put it into your circuit justice.
Sure.
All 3 of these judges, levels of judges, are responsible for keeping the peace. The corporations are the ones that are at war and breaking the peace.
So by doing this, would this essentially then establish, essentially the execution of this is a trust deed, correct?
I never said trustee.
No, I said a trust deed.
I never said anything about trust, did I? Yesterday, last night, I talked about deed, okay?
Right.
I didn't say anything about trust. The only thing I brought up about trust was that basically they have they imply that this is a trust, constructive trust. But it's not really a trust. There is no trust in this country. This is the most untrustworthy place on the face of the earth. Because everybody's trying to get in your back pocket.
They are.
Yeah.
But you operate, there's deeds of trust, and there's deed of partition, and there's deed inter parties. And see, you signed as the grantor, you authorized the thing because it was in your name, that certificate of live birth. It's in your name, not your mother's name, not your father's name. You are the grantor on that. And then the grantee is the state of on that certificate of live birth. That is under the second registrar in the process. Now, as the grantor, you had to or should have been right at the age of 1 year to be the grantor. The time starts at conception. 9 months in the hopper, 3 months out of the hopper. 1 year. That's when a deed can be initiated. As a grantor. And there's no other age limit or minimum age of 18 or 12 or anything like that on there. There was the minimum age was that you had to be 1 year old. You go back through and basically you'll find some of this stuff in the Bible. I went through a bunch of words last night trying to get people to start thinking. I've done you guys a total disservice in a lot of ways by doing all the templates for you guys. That way you guys haven't thought outside the box. You just take the templates and you run with them. You don't go and check out the words. You don't look them up on your own to find out what's really going on. You don't go from one word to another word in the dictionary the way you need to. See, that's what, and all these other places out here that are claiming that they're getting all this remedy and everything else, they're not really getting the proper remedy. And basically turn around, and sooner or later it's going to bite them in the butt. They may appear that they're sitting away from everybody else. I mean, hell, Waco, those guys operated for quite a while until basically they started stepping on people's toes like the Bushes, taking pictures and recording stuff about their drug trafficking. That's somebody that is basically sticking their nose into somebody else's damn business, and basically, at that point in time, now you're becoming a warring faction. Unless you go about it the right way and bring in the law enforcement up front and have them do the investigation. It's not your responsibility to investigate anybody else. You've got enough damn problems to take care of your own shit. But so many people in this country stick their damn nose into everybody else's damn business, and to hell with your own damn business. Because you can't figure out your business, well, I'm going to go over there and tell this guy over here what the hell his business is. You need to write these things down, make an outline, okay? We had to do that in school. You were given an outline. Now you fill in the outline. So I gave you the outline tonight for this bill of peace. Now you fill it in the way you want it, the way you understand it. But you better do some investigation to be able to fill it in appropriately. You can make the statement that basically you are an American Indian. And why? Because you're recorded into the land record of birthing. That is your American documentation. When you go to that SS5 form, it says you need to have a documentation. Well, you get a certificate of live birth without the registration number on it, okay? And that is your documentation of being recorded into the Book of Life. But it does not have the corporate registration number on it. Now, after that, you do a tribal council, your own tribal council documentation because you are a government unto yourself or unto your tribe. You put it under your seal. See, that's what most people don't understand. You already are a government unto yourself. If you're declaring yourself to be an American Indian on their system right now, because they took U.S. citizen away from us. In 1849, when my grandfather, great-great-grandfather, got naturalized, he was declared a United States citizen. That stood for the United States of America citizen. Abraham Lincoln, basically in the Expatriation Act, at that point in time, they were calling it American citizens, not United States citizens, but American citizens. And here in America, a citizen is also classified as an Indian. Same terminology. Both of them mean the same. That the corporation can't have Indians in its system because basically Indians do not coincide with the corporations because an Indian is someone who is alive. Or of the land. And see, they can't own land. So they can't claim ownership over Indians. But they can confuse the issue in the process and get you to thinking what you're not supposed to be thinking. Now, if you guys want to go and look at these other websites, I have no damn problem. I'm pretty much done. I was closed before, about 4 years ago, when I was doing the Treaty of Peace. But it's not a treaty. We have to issue the bill to them. We bill them. The corporation can't issue bills. They only issue charges. And then we have to come in and break all their false presumptions that they're operating with. And we have to come in peace, and we have to demand peace from them in return. Police officer harasses you, okay? To basically go into a litigation, into a court scenario to where they're going to charge you, basically you're going to put a bill of peace into that court. That basically that officer or the charging corporation has to put up a $100,000 bond or something along that lines. And that basically if the court rules in your favor that they're the ones that are breaching the peace, you can put your charges in against that bond, withdrawals, your bill against that bond. That bond now has to make the payment for the bill. This is the other side of the looking glass that people have been looking for. Okay, go ahead with questions.
I have a question, Patrick.
Yeah.
Don't you have to take an oath to be a U.S. citizen? With my husband's immigration stuff, they said he had to take an oath to be a U.S. citizen. He said he didn't want to take an oath.
He has to take an oath to swear allegiance to keep the peace.
Hello?
Still there?
I'm still here. I just hear a bunch of somebody.
Yeah, Tom probably dropped off or something. No, you have to take an oath that you're going to keep the peace.
Right.
That's pretty much all that it is.
So if we haven't taken an oath, are we actual citizens?
If we were born here in this country, we are by right of birth. Okay, that's different than somebody coming here from a foreign country. They have to come in and they have to comply with what is the standard for this country. But see, we are the sovereignty of the land by being born here. The land is the sovereign. We are part of the land. See, that's what I'm saying. You need to, most of these people that have been out here in the damn patriot community and everything else haven't thought this thing out properly. And they want to argue and basically claim something that they already have. But they're claiming it in the wrong regards. Like I did that 4 years ago, trying to do a treaty of peace. We don't have to do a treaty of peace because we've already got the treaties. We just have to get them to enforce the treaties.
So should we mention them in the bill?
Yes, you can mention the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the state as being treaties.
Okay.
It's your bill. I gave you the outline. You put the rest of it together. You break the presumptions. You make your claim of re-entry. You can make your claim.
Can you inject this bill into an existing court case?
Yes, you can put this bill right into an existing court case. But if you don't have a court case, you send it right into the chief judge or chief justice for your federal district.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Him? Did you hear her?
Oh.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Just a second. So,
anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, the bill of peace that you were talking about, regarding, like, say, a charging officer who's bringing charges against you for, say, traffic violation. you were saying that the charging corporation has to, or including within the bill of peace, the charging corporation has to put up a bond of some sort, like you said, $100,000. If the court
No, I'm saying that is an example, okay? You make up your own bill of peace. That here, if these guys cause me any harm, then they are going to have to put up a bill of peace in return. See, everybody goes into court wanting the bond of the judge.
Right.
You have to come in peace. Therefore, when you come in peace and you put your bill of peace in, now they have to produce a bond into that court action.
Okay.
A liability bond, because they're a corporation.
Right.
Okay? Read the definitions. Listen to this audio again. You make up your outline, and then, like, back in grade school, okay, when you had to do book reports, I don't know whether they taught this in your upbringing in the public education, but basically from when I went to public education, you had to write an outline. You submitted your outline, and then basically from there, now you wrote your book report.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. So that's what you need to do, but you have to understand the words. So you're going to have to listen to this audio and then write down those words and then go look up the definitions of those words, because I didn't give you all the definitions of them. I want you to go and find them out.
Oh, no, absolutely. I understand that importance of learning and understanding the words, most definitely.
You can't stand on it if you don't even know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you need to lay this out and then find out, go through the process. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, you guys go ahead and talk for a while. I'm going to take a break here.
Okay.
Okay, so where do we start first?
I guess probably a doc with all the definitions of all the words.
Mm-hmm.
I started it from the one that from the words he mentioned yesterday. So I guess what I'll do is I'll pull up the rest of these definitions and add it into a doc, and I guess I could share it in the Skype group.
Oh, good. That'd be great. Appreciate that. And we can begin to put together a document as we begin to understand the words and form our own.
Yeah, maybe we could create some kind of outline just based on what was said and fill it in.
Yeah, and maybe go over it.
I'm not as wordy as Patrick, but I'm pretty sure I can come up with something that would explain my intent.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, we need to go through the call carefully, because he basically gave us the outline. So
right.
we need to look up the definitions and coordinate them. But the process of looking them up, especially copying them out into your own document with all the scan errors, you have to go through it very carefully anyhow.
Right.
And straighten it out. And then once we get the words and then get the definitions, we can then start working on crafting this.
Right.
So, and you said a key phrase there, conveying your intent, which is very important.
Corey, your microphone is quite loud, so you're breaking up a fair amount.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me turn that down. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. So, the look up deed as well in Anderson.
Deed?
Now you can turn it up just a little bit. You turned it down too much.
Okay. What about now?
That's better.
A little bit.
Now? Is that better?
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. So yeah.
So what did you say? Deed?
Yeah, deed.
Okay.
Deed is it's a simple explanation. Like the first definition is simply, go ahead and look. I'm not going to read it, but you can go ahead and read it yourself. But at the end, it says a deed is to be so construed when possible as to give effect to the intention of the party. That this may be done, the court will place itself in the situation of the grantor at the date of the transaction with his knowledge of the surrounding circumstances and of the import of the word used. And so that bill of peace, if you really look at it, stands as a deed that you are entering into that court of your intent to be, honored.
Right. It's called an estoppel as well in Anderson's.
Right.
Something done, an act, a matter of fact.
Right, and if you remember in one of his other documentation, he mentioned something about a estoppel in pais.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what that was, but essentially the
means
deed.
Country.
No, it had a different meaning.
Oh. It says an estoppel. There's a looks like something in Latin here too.
Say sign, and I think that's French. And then
French
corresponds to something that probably is a scan or a pie.
Oh, okay. It's a writing sealed and delivered by the maker.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. That's what we're doing when we're doing these documents. We're putting together our intent, and then we're sealing it at the end, and we're sending it in. That's our deed.
Right. It actually says the most solemn and authentic act a man can perform with relation to the disposal of property.
Right, and so this whole bill of peace will also connect to what we're doing in regards to the Office of Special Trustee in conveying or doing that transfer of our forgot what he said exactly. When he was talking about transferring our property to the Office of Special Trustee because it's not there right now, and then also our dead relatives.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, because I called there and they said that there's no account unless you were brought in. The account was created by the tribe, or you basically activated an account from a deceased relative.
Right.
So yeah,
so in a court action,
we currently don't have our account set up there yet.
Right, but in a court action, you can lay out these things to be done all together within that bill of peace. Like, conveyance is another one to look up because you can, within that bill of peace, provide the conveyance or the transfer of that title to the Office of Special Trustee, and then establishing the tribal council documentation as well. So you have that in place.
Right.
At least that's how I'm seeing it, you know.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble understanding the whole tribe situation, though, because that woman that I spoke to at the Office of Special Trustees said you already had to be in a tribe, or the tribe could set up the account for you. And I'm like, okay, so how do I prove to them that I'm already in a tribe? And they listed specifically what their tribes were, and they were all like Indian tribes.
Right,
Native
but I
American.
mean, you are
Native
also,
Indian.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to do a what was he saying about the like based upon your right of birth here in America, you are too also considered Indian.
Okay.
So you're American Indian.
Don't forget the people that you're talking to are not awake and fully aware of the situation you are trying to attempt.
Which is why it is best to go through a court action when you're setting this up, because that Bill of Peace is going to be very powerful in rooting. It's going to be pretty much your core in extending this to where you want it to go.
Right.
So isn't one a tribe in him or herself? Once you take lordship of your affairs and your status?
Yes, we are our own tribe. Tribe of one.
Yes.
Not women.
Mankind. Claim yourself as man, versus men. Man is all beings.
Right.
Instead of, using that term, female or her. Yeah.
I mean, Patrick's explanation about the woman not being able to be a tribe, like, I understand where he's coming with that as far as the traditional connotation of what that entails, but dealing with this this corporate fiction, because on the forms, the OMB forms that we were filling out, the 0004 and the 0003, when it was asking for the tribe was in the name of the birth certificate person. So that was the name of the tribe that he had stated would represent when you're filling out that instrument. And so the tribe essentially is going to be that person that you're coming under. So it's more so the person, which is the individual tribe. It's like the individual treasury account, essentially.
That's why we have three names, right? I mean, is that included? On your.
I mean, it depends on, you can look at it like that, but really it does. I don't really think the name 3, 1, 2 is that of importance as much as it is there is an account. And so that account is the estate or the tribe essentially that you are coming in under. And everyone has their own individual tribe or account.
Yeah, Patrick said we're Indians because we're from the land.
Right. And that instrument, that birth certificate of live birth, was recorded, in the the Office of Land Records. So it is a land record. So that is your tribe. You just have to convey that correctly in words when you're putting together your Bill of Peace.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, don't get discouraged. I'm not sure who the lady was who was confused about the tribe ordeal.
That was me.
Tawana.
Listen to the call. You know, we can all listen to the call again. We'll get more reinforced.
Right.
More rooted.
I've got to listen to each call at minimum 3 times.
Wish I could memorize it.
Okay, you guys, you understand about the tribe. The tribe is the last name. Okay? In the corporate world, they call it last name. In the real world, in the Indian nation, they call it your tribe name. Okay? Not your last name, but your tribe name. And then, as an individual, you are first and middle name in the tribe. You came of the tribe of your father. Now, a woman, basically, if she goes into a different tribe, she goes into the tribe of her husband. The name, the last name that basically the corporate world uses, because they can only deal with the dead. That's why they have last name on there as a corporate dead fiction. But in the Indian nation, and basically in the Bible, and like in the book of Ruth, it was by the tribe name of the father or the husband or the dead husband or the dead father, whatever, that they were attached to. Your tribe name is not your whole name, okay? It's basically your clan name.
There we go. Yeah, and we all
think about these things in a logical term, okay? Because they need to have the clan name or the tribe name to be able to go back into your inheritance lineage. So they don't go by your first name. They go by your family name or your clan name or your tribe name.
So you're a clan and a tribe. Your last
well,
name
I have
is
a
a tribe,
question
your first
about,
two
I
is
actually
a
have
clan.
a question about the definition of tribe in Anderson. This is for Patrick. My question.
Add that tribe.
Yeah, my question is from the definition of tribe in Anderson, where it states it's primarily a question for the political department of the government. What is it referring to when it says that?
Okay, my recommendation to you is you're reading Anderson. That's a law dictionary. Now go and get an Oxford Universal Dictionary or a Webster's Dictionary and read what the civil understanding of that is.
Okay. So political implies civil.
Huh?
Political implies civil.
No, I'm not talking political. I'm talking about law dictionary versus a civilian dictionary.
Okay.
You need to look at all these different dictionaries. I've tried to explain that to people before because, see, in a lot of cases, in the law dictionaries, you're not going to find half the words that are in the civil dictionary or in the civilian dictionary.
And vice versa.
No, you're going to find most all of the definitions in the law dictionary somewhere in the civil or the civilian dictionaries.
Because I know there's
you may not find the phrases in all intact in there, but you'll find the words in most cases. And see, that's one of the key things is when I was going through Black's and Bouvier's Law Dictionary, they don't have half of what they really need to have in there of telling you a true definition of this, because they're only talking from the corporate world, the dead world. So they can't use living words in a lot of cases. And then also, in a lot of cases, you check it out in the Bible, too. All this stuff is right there in the Bible. Especially if you take out half the garbage that's in the Bible and put it aside, all this begot and all this screwing around that everybody's doing in the damn Bible. Who begot who and who's doing this to who and all that other junk. And you just look at the real law that's in there, you'll find out that basically it's still valid today because it's all real common law, common sense law.
The diamonds.
I don't remember the site I went to. It's a Bible website. You could search out. You could do a search by word. You do a word search, and it pulls up all these different books in the Bible relating to that word. So I'm thinking we might need to do that with all of these words.
No, you don't need to go all that far, okay? Just enough research, okay? When you understand what the words mean, okay, you got to do some of this stuff on faith and belief, okay? You want to sit around and research everything constantly over and over again? You're beating a dead horse to death. He's already dead.
I'm going to check the other dictionaries for to get a more rounded understanding of tribe. But I brought that up because when I was reading the definition of tribe, it brought up a question for the political department, and when I was going over the definition of treaty today after listening to the call from last night, and there was a cross-reference with the same wording. I just was trying to acquire if you could provide a further understanding of that. Let me just share with you the area of question that I had here. It was stating that this is from the definition of treaty in Anderson. It says, a treaty does not generally affect of itself its object. It is carried into execution by the sovereign power of the parties. In the United States, however, a different principle is established. Our Constitution declares a treaty to be part of the supreme law of the land, and it is consequently regarded in courts of justice as equivalent to an act of the legislature whenever it operates of itself without the aid of any legislative provision. But when the terms of the stipulation import a contract, when either of the parties engages to perform a particular act, the treaty addresses itself to the political, not to the judicial department. So my question is, what's the difference between the political and the judicial department?
Well, that's basically when you're going out and you're doing a contract with the commercial world, okay?
So would this bill of peace be a contract?
No, this bill of peace is basically you're requesting that the Judicial Department enforce your peace that was guaranteed per the constitutions, the state and the federal constitution. And see, we are the sovereignty of the sovereign. The sovereign is the land.
Because
see, the United States is not the sovereignty, okay?
Right.
It's not the sovereign, okay? The states are the sovereigns that make up the United States. Now, they can claim a corporate sovereignty, but that's all that they can claim. They can't claim a land sovereignty except for the public lands that they have jurisdiction, control over, or protection over.
So there's two lands, one of the earth and one of the man or woman's body?
Yeah, they can't really control us. We didn't give them that right to control us. That's what the Bill of Rights, our bills of rights are. There are bills for the people and for the states themselves. And we reserved all of our rights and powers that we did not address giving to the corporation in a form of peace treaty for the Constitution.
Yes.
Now we have to come in and have the Judicial Department enforce the peace treaty. Follow that?
Yeah, I follow that. It says here in that what I was reading earlier, it says that the legislature must execute the contract before it can become a rule of the court.
Don't read too much into that, because in a lot of cases some of that don't apply to us.
Okay.
Okay? That applies to the corporate side of the government. The government, all governments are corporations. Okay? They have to operate as that, as such, in that capacity. Now, we have two corporations that are in place here. We have the Peace Corporation and we have the Warring Corporation. The Warring Corporation is the one that is using the monetary system out here of usury. And that's the 1871 corporation that is using the monetary system of usury for profit.
Right.
And we have to stop the warring faction and get over to the peace faction.
So part of peace, coming in peace, would that be, because we're dealing with the issue of war here, the warring faction, are we going to be implementing the surrender?
No. We're demanding that they stop the war. They're warring, okay? We're billing them.
Okay.
See, that's this stuff. We were surrendering before. Now, when we put this in and get this to the federal district court, the peacekeepers are going to come, and we've ordered determination of all of these items. They will come and pick those up, and at that point in time, we will turn those documents over to them.
And you will surrender.
Well, that is, yes, you are turning them over. That is classified as a surrender, surrendering that instrument to them.
I see.
But we're not surrendering anything. We're standing our ground. We're standing upon our rights.
Absolutely. Yeah, when I was speaking about surrender, I was more so referring to those instruments, yeah.
But see, I've tried all that stuff before, and now I can see why it didn't go anywhere. It's because we were using the words in the wrong connotation. Okay. Well, you guys continue on. I'm going to drop off. I'll see you down the road.
Yeah, thank you,
later.
Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yes.
Okay, we'll see you later.
Tom, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
That thing I sent off to the district court last time, they sent it back and said you do not have an open case, with instructions on how to file a claim.
Yeah, they want to make it into a case, and we're not. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because
but they said it was like a $350 fee.
Yeah, we'll have to deal with that again with Patrick.
What is this referring to?
Well, we had faxed in some papers, and I send off I don't even remember which process we were working on at the time, but we were faxing it to the district court, and I also mailed a hard copy. I didn't get any response from the fax, but I got the one that I mailed in back with a letter explaining how I would go about filing a case because I didn't have an open case with which to inject that document.
Right.
Okay.
And they said it was $350 to file it in federal district court.
Yeah, we should have brought that up. We should have brought that up. We'll see if we can bring it up during the week with him.
Yeah, what I'm doing personally is I'm entering in through a traffic violation. So that's my open court case right there. And so I'm going to use that to my advantage to go ahead and submit this documentation and present everything. So I have a court date on 18th regarding this traffic violation. So I'm going to go ahead and enter this bill of peace, put everything together, and then I'm going to connect that with the Office of Special Trustee and then the whole Indian relationship and tribunal counsel documentation and whatnot.
Can't we create our own case record or our own court record at the county record to then start putting our case files on those case records that we create?
Yeah, I think you can open a miscellaneous file. But once again, I think that also costs money to do that.
He has addressed that previously, but I don't remember exactly what he said. Because he's brought up that issue several times.
Yeah, I heard one guy I was talking to said he does a lot of posting on his county record. He said it was his. He went down to the county recording office, and there's a posting section there where you can post your own records on there.
Well, if you have difficulty posting, recording things, Pinal County has very openly said they will record anything, including a ham sandwich.
Right.
What is this?
Or especially a ham sandwich.
There you go.
What was it exactly, Tom?
Which
Pinal County. Pinal.
Oh, okay.
I think that's
what
where
state is
Tucson
that?
is. Arizona.
Okay. Including a ham sandwich.
Yeah,
okay.
so you can put your case on there too.
So they've got a federal district judge. And that no, that will probably be county, huh? No.
I believe Pinal County is Tucson, which is the state capital.
Oh.
There you go.
Let me check.
Huh. Interesting.
I read somewhere though that you can pretty much
you can put claims towards other men and women on the record. Somebody making a complaint against you, you write a claim on your record and it stands. But you got to create your own record for you, yourself, your tribe.
This stuff stressed me out.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is very stressful. I mean, but you just have to take it one step at a time. You don't want to overload yourself. So take a little bit here and there, What I think what would help is, like, Patrick is really on point with understanding the definitions. Pick a word and, like, focus on that word for the day. That way you thoroughly understand the word. When you go into another one, you're going to be able to cross-reference a lot easier.
I can't learn one word a day. I don't have that kind of time. I need to learn like 100 words a day.
Yeah, I think that's where we're losing, is because we jump from one word to another and we don't meditate on it and absorb it.
Yeah, like when I was actually raised in the church, and like when we would do Bible studies, it got very, very involved in understanding what the word means, like in its original like Hebrew connotation, so that you knew what was being conveyed, and then you had to cross-reference that word, other words in different chapters. So there's a lot of like dissecting of words and phrases that were said. So it takes time to break this stuff apart. You almost had to study it like you're studying in a Bible study. And so,
I really, in my humble opinion, I don't believe any of us have that kind of time.
I don't have that kind of time
at all. I may have less, considering, specific circumstances, but I think we're running out of time here.
That's why I think it's good that if we get together and help each other out, maybe help one person succeed, and then, once that person succeeds, then that person can share with us how they did it. But we all many people help one succeed, but I know Pat's talking about we got to do it ourselves. But it seems like when I do it myself, like you guys talking about, it's hard to absorb all this and try to, do it all by yourself and make it happen in such a short time. So like you said,
Well, yeah. I mean, because even when you understand the words themselves, putting them together is a talent and a skill. And Patrick is very talented in that arena.
Well, he gave us a anchor to work with this Bill of Peace and the definitions he laid out tonight and last night. So that would be a starting point right there. And I would work within that sandbox and see what you can build with that.
Well, I'm going to try to draw up something, and then I'd like to get some of you guys' thoughts on it. I don't want to just throw something out there.
Juana, I think a start would be to transcribe yesterday's and today's call.
Okay.
Because that would get the outline down, and then we can re-edit that call and try to make it into a document.
Okay. You see, you put me to work. Now I can't do my bill of peace.
Yeah. Well, that will put you to work to do your bill of peace. Okay. I just dumped the address and phone numbers of Pinal County into Skype group.
Okay, good. All right. Well, now I got a lot of work to do, so I guess I got to get off of here. But
if you want, why don't you take today's call, and I'll take yesterday's call.
Okay. Okay. All right. And when I come up with something, I'm going to try to draw up something, because I understand what Patrick is saying. He feels like he's hurting us by not letting us do this on our own, so that we can really understand the process. And I get that. It just applies a lot of stress.
Patrick has a lot of time to sit down and do this. I work.
Well, what we need to do is make up an outline and then run it by him.
Right.
Okay.
Good idea.
All right. Well, I'll get working on that on the call as soon as you post it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, very good.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.